Hey y'all, welcome back to Mima's house, where we're eating good food, sharing good times, and we hope you enjoy your stay. Let's get to cooking. Hey y'all, welcome back to Mima's house. I'm in the kitchen. You see, I'm getting my apron on because we got to get to work. I'm all dolled up today because it is Peepaw's birthday. And you know I don't get dressed up but for one person's birthday, and that's his. So we're all dressed up and getting ready to bake a cake. Go figure. So, you know Peepaw likes a good pound cake. So guess what we're making today? A pound cake. But not just any pound cake, a Piña Colada Pound Cake. So, I got my apron on, got my ingredients right here, and I'm going to show them to you in just a minute. In the meanwhile, let's get to cook. Okay, so I'm going to do this cooking today just a little bit differently. I'm gonna wipe off my counter and I'm going to do it step by step through this recipe. First thing I'm going to do is get my mixer right here, and then I'll get my camera readjusted so you can see what I'm doing. Let's go this way. Here are the ingredients that we'll be using to make our Piña Colada Pound Cake. For the cake, we'll use 1.5 cups of unsalted butter or salted butter. I like salted butter. The recipe calls for unsalted, but I like salted. Anyway, that's 3 sticks of butter. That's softened to room temperature. 3 cups of granulated sugar, 6 large eggs, 3 cups of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of baking soda, a half a teaspoon of salt, a cup of sour cream, 1 cup of crushed pineapple. We're going to drain that. You see, I got it in my colander already. A half a cup of shredded coconut, 1 teaspoon of coconut extract, 1 teaspoon of pineapple extract, 1/2 teaspoon of butter extract, and a half teaspoon of rum extract. And then for the glaze, we're going to do a cup of powdered sugar and 2 or 3 tablespoons of coconut milk, plus a half a teaspoon of that coconut extract. So we got it all out here. Let's go ahead and pull our cake together. And don't forget, the list of ingredients will be down in the description box. Okay, y'all, so I got my mixer set up and I have my butter, my sticks of butter. This calls for 3 sticks of butter, softened. So sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get it out of that package, but we're gonna get it out today. And once I get my butter in the bowl, I'm going to go ahead and kind of cream that together so that it can be mixed, and then we'll add the sugar. So give me a minute, a second, and let me get my butter in the bowl and get my mixer all set up. And you know, Mima don't like to leave any butter on the packages. So I got that all done. Let's go ahead and get our butter creamed together just a little bit. And if this is going to stay, it looks like it might. And we're going to measure out 3 cups of sugar and get that in the bowl as well. Now we're going to go ahead and measure out our flour and our other ingredients because we'll be getting those in next. All right, let's go ahead and get our eggs. You see, I had 1 egg that was trying to be persnickety, so we're gonna use him first. And y'all know that I'm saving my eggshells because I got a compost bin out back and I'm going to put this in my compost. So we're going to save this right here and I'm going to scrape my bowl down in a minute, but let me put my shells away. All right, we're going to, you see how nice and fluffy my butter and sugar mixture is? It's not the same deep color yellow that it was. This is what we want. And you hear when I scrape, I'm gonna be quiet so you can hear it. When I scrape my bowl, you don't hear any sugar granules down in it. So he's good and creamed. Now we're going to add our eggs one at a time. And I'm only going to beat my eggs just until that yolk disappears. And like I've told you in other videos, if that egg slides out 2 at a time, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Now that yolk wants to swirl around in the butter. Ah, there she goes. All right, while that's doing, let's go ahead and measure out our flour and our dry ingredients. And that's 3 cups of flour. I'm going to stop my mixer. I'm going to swirl it just a little bit more. Our 3 cups of flour. Our half a teaspoon of salt. Our teaspoon of baking powder. And our teaspoon of baking soda. Now y'all know I normally like to sift my dry ingredients. But today, I'm just going to break it up with my wire whisk. And if you don't have a sifter at home, you can always just use a wire whisk. And it serves the same purpose. It breaks up any lumps and it puts air into your flour mixture. So that's ready. Okay, so I have my flour and the dry ingredients pulled together. I'm going to now add to my mixture my extracts. We have 4 extracts. This is almost like a 5-flavored pound cake, but the flavors are piña colada. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out all of my extracts and get those put into the eggs first. And y'all know how I do. I gave you the amounts, but I'm just going to eyeball it right now. That was the rum. This is the coconut. This is the butter extract. And this is the pineapple. I had a hard time finding this pineapple extract. I had to go to, believe it or not, Michael's, because none of the grocery stores had it. So here are all my extracts. And I'm going to go ahead and add that into my egg mixture. While that's beating, I'm going to pull out my sour cream. I'm going to stop this right here because I want y'all to know that I have allowed Peepaw to film for me, and y'all forgive his fingers. He's doing the best he can. Thank y'all. Now back to the regularly scheduled programming. And the recipe calls for 1 cup of sour cream. Y'all know I don't remember all my recipes right offhand, but this one I have right here. So I'm going to pull up my one cup of sour cream. Let me get a spoon. And yes, I am using the same measuring cup that I use to measure out my flour. Because you know what? It's all going in the same cake. And I didn't have any extra flour in there. I just had a little flour dust. Ooh, this smells delicious. Alrighty. So now, I'm going to go ahead and measure out my coconut. And I'm using 1/2 cup of shredded coconut. And we have our cup of pineapple. We're going to go ahead and alternate the flour with the sour cream, and then we'll add our pineapple and coconut. So, come on with me. When I put my flour in, I only put in about 1 cup at a time. And you know I always start with my flour and I end with my flour. So I did 1/2 cup of sour cream, then another cup of flour. I could put in a little bit more. And then my last 1/2 cup of sour cream. And then my last cup of flour. All right, you see I'm not going to mix this all the way through. I'm done with that. I'm not going to use my mixer to mix it all the way through because I like to mix my flour, my batter, the last little bit of batter by hand. I don't want to overbeat my batter because that makes for a tough, dry cake. We don't want that. So let's go ahead and mix our cake for the last little bit. Before I do that, let me get my pan so that I can get that ready. Hold on. Now, can you see over in my bowl? Here's our coconut and our pineapple. And all I'm going to do is fold it all together. Because most of that flour had already been incorporated. But I want to make sure that all of the pineapple and the coconut gets incorporated as well. Now this makes a 12 cups of batter. And I want to make sure that I use a large enough pan. I'm still going to kind of measure it out when I get it in the pan to make sure that it doesn't overflow. If I have more batter than I think my pan will hold, I'm going to put it in a loaf pan so that somebody's gonna get a little loaf pan of cake somewhere. One of my sisters or my brother-in-law or somebody's gonna have a little pina colada cake if this is too much for the pan that I have chosen. So now that that's mixed, let's go ahead and get it in the pan. And I think I'm going to stop right there. And get this, you know how I do this with the pan. For those of you who have watched my videos before, you know that I like to do a press and tap method of getting my batter into my pan. Just because this has a lot of crevices here, and that kind of evens out the batter as well into the cake pan, you see? Okay, so this is ready to go into my 325-degree oven for about an hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to set a timer for an hour, and then I'm going to check it at that point and see if I need 15 more minutes of baking time for this baby. And we're going to get that little bit put into a loaf pan. So let's go over here to the oven. Okay, so I got my loaf pan. And we're going to get our last little cake ready to go into the oven as well. This is one thing that I really like about baking, is that sometimes you mess around and have enough batter to bless somebody else with it. So somebody else will get a little something to put on their Sunday table or their dessert table or something. I don't want to tear up my pan, so I'm going to wipe that off. All right, let's get to the oven. Okay, y'all, so the cake is in the oven, and I'm going to let that bake for that hour like I told you. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to pull together a glaze with coconut milk and the little coconut extract. I may put a little pineapple extract in there as well, and the powdered sugar. So when I get ready to do that, I'll bring y'all back on board. In the meanwhile, let me clean up these dishes that I just made a mess with. Okay, y'all, so the cake has about 15 minutes more to bake. The small cake is done. I'm going to go ahead and mix together our glaze for our Piña Colada Pound Cake. Hold on. I'm going to go ahead and mix up my cup of powdered sugar. Two to 3 tablespoons of coconut milk, and this is the brand coconut milk I'm using. And then we'll use just a taste of coconut extract. And I'm going to mix this. My container might be a little small, but it won't be after I mix it all together and it starts to meld together. It will be just fine. And I want it nice and smooth. You see that? See how smooth and how easy that came together? I'm gonna taste it. It's a good coconut flavor. All right, our glaze is all done. Now the cakes are all done, but I'm going to let them sit and cool in the pan for about 15 minutes. Then I'm going to flip them out onto our cake plate and get them all glazed up. After I let them cool for another 30 minutes or until they're cool to the touch outside of the pan. So we'll be back in 45 minutes or so. Okay, so the cake wanted to stick here and it wants to stick here. But we're gonna cover it up with a little glaze and still celebrate, okay? It tastes good. You saw me take a little piece.
Did y'all eat dinner today?
All right, I put a little coconut on that. And I think I'm going to put a little pineapple as well. Well, they don't want to stay on. Hold on. I don't know why they think they're special. All right, there it is. Hold on, let me get you up close so you can see the Piña Colada Pound Cake. So there it is, our Piña Colada Pound Cake. She ain't the prettiest cake I baked ever in life, but I believe she'll be good. I'm gonna get a taste tester in here in just a minute so we can see what she tastes like, okay? Hold the phone. All right, let's get her in here. Kate's gonna try it for me.
Okay. As soon as you bite it, you get that blast of pineapple in your mouth.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
A blast of pineapple.
It's nice and moist, and it's like very smooth.
Oh, good.
I like it.
Very good. Okay, y'all, I have mine, and we're gonna give this a taste. Actually, this is Peyton's. Yep. I taste all the flavors. Don't taste the rum too much, but I don't care. I don't drink rum no how, so it doesn't matter. This is a good cake, y'all. Take your time with it. It'll give you a nice dessert. So, Y'all be blessed. I'm going to go bless somebody with this little pound cake, the little one. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Hey, and if you haven't subscribed, please feel free to do so. I would love to have you over here at Mima's house just to visit for a while. Be blessed. Bye. Thank y'all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and let me know down in the chat what you think about the new format. Here's a playlist and another video for you to watch while I upload the next one. Y'all be blessed. Bye.